Hello, good people. How you guys doing today? Leo mi nataka tubonge story maze, because you see, being a citizen in an African country is one of the best things that can happen to you in the whole world. I mean, waking up and you find yourself a citizen in Kenya or a citizen in Tanzania, it's such an amazing thing. And by the way, we've seen people who have had an opportunity to leave the country and travel abroad. After spending 15 years in New York or in London, wherever in the world, people have always thought about coming back home. And that's the most interesting bit about being an African, because you never lose your ancestral touch. You could have gone there as an expert, a student, but every time you get an opportunity to come back to the country, man, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania becomes your first option. And in our episode today, nataka tukue na conversation moja genuine sana, And if you don't know what you're talking about today, welcome to the Between the Lines podcast. Ini podcast mpya nimeanzisha. Na ini podcast inatupatia opportunity ya kudissect zile stories hii tuna experience kwa society. Na kutafuta opportunity ya kumake society kwe better. Be it mambo za healthcare, be it mambo za politics, be it mambo za economics, because at the end of the day, we deserve the best. But for us to get to the best, lazima tuambiane ukweli. And today, I want us to dissect a topic that is closer to my heart. This topic is what I call political leaders, the hungry, and why the 21st century leaders will always stay hungry. For those of you who've ever slept hungry, you can understand what I'm talking about. And for those of you who have never slept hungry, maybe this sounds like a fiction. It's a movie, something that is not real. But allow me to show you the contradiction that we've lived seeing every day. We live in a very strange contradiction. Na hiyo si uongo. Political leaders wanakula daily. How many times have we heard sijui mabilioni za sekta fulani zimepotea, sijui shule ilitaka kutengenezwa, haijatengenezwa. Like, these things happen every day. And the sad state of affairs is that the hungry, who are the citizens, they keep on watching every day. We see these things on TV, we experience them in the communities that we are in. And it has gotten to a point whereby ni kama tumenormalize this story. Mi mazee hakuna kitu inanikasirisha kama, a politician or a leader waking up in the morning anakuwa na manifesto, anaambia watu, mkinivotia ningie pale, I'm gonna do this for you. What changes along the journey? And I think for me that's the biggest question, because the distance between these two realities keeps on growing. The distance between the political class who keeps eating versus the poor who sleep hungry, it expands every day. And to make the matters worse is that we see these things on TV. We've seen these things being taken photographs. We've seen it being shared on social media, and it's becoming a norm, And now everybody that I speak to is figuring out how they can get into the political spaces, because it's only in politics that you believe you can get an easy way. It's only in politics that you can get away with tenders, and nobody questions you. And the contrary aspect here is that tukiwa tuna grow tuliambiwa leadership is about service. Sijui kama unaelewa what it means to service, or what it means by the word service. If you check out your dictionary, I think service is about lending your time, lending your energy, lending your capacity for the betterment of people and systems that are meant to serve them. But it's quite ironical that what we refer to as service in this current economy, it's about individualistic gains, which means if you're a politician, you're separated from long queues. For those of you who have gone to pay school fees ya watoto, you can understand what I'm talking about. Unaweza queue the whole day, but mwanasiasa akikuja ni express, kama ameingia VIP treatment, done. But at the end of the day, we forget about the people who voted us in. We forget about the people who sacrificed that night, who sacrificed that morning, who sacrificed everything just to ensure that you get into that space. And here at the Between the Lanes, we really want to unpack these conversations because it's only from good governance, it's only from, having good leaders that we can unlock the value that is in Africa. And let's zoom further into the healthcare system. We've seen people die. People die from diseases that are preventable. But to our political class, they fly out of the country to access medicines in other parts of the world. If they come to a local facility, they'll always get express services, if that's the case, or even get, tailored experience. And I think that's unfair. In a population of over 50 million people, I think we need to do better. We need to ensure that at the end of the people, we can create systems that make it easier for Mama Mboga to access healthcare services, or for Mama Mboga to experience the highest quality of standards, So this gap keeps on growing every day. And I think it's time for us as young people, it's time for us as the intellectually capacitated individuals in the society to start reshaping the Africa that we need, because this is a script that has been used for quite a long time. Now, I feel like it's a high time that we wake up and redefine the kind of life that we need. Africa is a continent with over 54 countries, if I'm right. And again, it's the same Africa that is a continent that is struggling with diseases, youth unemployment. So my biggest question is, what are we missing? What are we missing? What are we not doing right? So as my audience, the biggest question is, can all these things be avoided? I don't know what your interpretation of this is, but ile swali nauliza ni, hii blanda yote, can we avoid it? And what's the best way to avoid it? Because inakaa complex, by the way. Si tumezaliwa tukajipata kwa hii context. Our parents have been in those contexts, but the biggest question is, do you want to continue living this way? Or are there better ways to improve the human potential? Because I'm Kenyan. I've seen young people come up with innovative ideas. We've seen young people from Nigeria and other parts of the world really come up with innovative solutions, from agribusiness to healthcare to transport. And the biggest question is, can we do better to create spaces for these young people? Can we do better to create spaces that will allow people to live an optimal experience? So as we navigate further, I want to really unpack this conversation and bring it home. And my message will be, in the 21st century, leadership is not about darkness. Leadership is about public review. As a leader, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, remember that it's about the best interest of the people. In as much as you put yourself there, it's about the people. So if you're thinking about investment in healthcare, people first. Building roads, people first. And the moment you do this for the people, then you'll be able to see the ripple effect of your effort. Hospital without medicine is just but a failure. And it's evident. We've seen so many facilities that are unable to provide medical care to the people who need it most. We've seen mothers die just because there is no provider who can attend to their issues. So I'm calling upon the political class to really wake up. It's a high time that we collaborate with our people. It's a high time that we come closer to our people and understand what challenges are they facing and how can we co-create solutions that can push our countries and our region to the next level. Yeah, I know it feels nice being in a V8, enjoying that entire convoy, but it's so sad when you're enjoying a convoy, yet the people who elected you are dying. And data shows us that the mortality rate keeps on increasing. We are losing people from tuberculosis. We are losing people from accidents, like things that can be avoided. So, what is it that we need to look at as the young generation? And I keep on saying that leadership is not about arrival. We've seen forums where the leaders walk in and everybody stands up, they start clapping. I don't think I'll clap for you really if you've not delivered for the people. You came up with a manifesto and you said, like, if you elect me, I'll be able to champion for better policy. Why should I clap? That's the biggest question. making hungry people stand a whole day just to listen to you. It doesn't make sense. So I think we've really made it feel like when you are closer to the political class, that's when you get favor. I think it should be the reverse. When the political class is closer to the people, that is favor, because you get an opportunity to get feedback on what is working. You get an opportunity to get feedback on what can be improved. And I think that is the trajectory we should be aiming at as African leaders, and citizens. We need to start waking up and calling for accountability, because these are public spaces, and public spaces is about delivering for the people. And I believe if we can start solving some of these problems one by one, then what is it that will stop Africa from achieving, its dreams and goals? And we've also seen cases where a politician is launching a project and they make it sound like it's a favor. Good people, it's not a favor when you're delivering for the people, because there is a scorecard. You need to live by the pen. You promise to the people that you're going to deliver for them. So why make it sound like it's a favor? Or why make it feel like you've done them justice? I think the only justice that we can do for the people is showing up. The only justice we can do for them is to constantly recalibrate. Ask the people, what are you feeling like I should do next? What are the priorities that we should be addressing? And I feel like the 21st century leadership is not about staying hungry for power. It's about staying hungry to deliver for the people. Not because they lack privileges. People have privileges of sending you home, but they've given you an opportunity to shape up, an opportunity to improve. And I think visibility should come with accountability. The same way that we clap for you when you show up on podiums should be the same way accountability should be embedded. And we cannot hide performance anymore. I think the aspect that our people should focus on is about, these are the gaps. What did our leaders do? Or what systems did they create for us to address them? Number two, you cannot appear and disappear in comfort. I mean, politicians show up in meetings. The moment they disappear, you cannot even tell. I think it's high time that we spend more time with people. We blend in more with people so that we can unlock and address any problems that are there every day. But there's another layer that I want to bring in, and this is a layer of the public perception that is changing. For quite a very long time, we've seen people taking a backseat when it comes to development. But right now, development is becoming a top agenda. And impact is no longer static. It evolves in real time. If you do nothing, you are irrelevant. If you do something, well, but is it sufficient? And if you do too much, people will appreciate, because that's why you're there. So I don't think there's a resting point. As a leader, you need to step up. As a leader, you need to rise to the occasion. And maybe the real tension that we are talking about is citizens saying, hola, stop. You've done enough for us. But I don't think at this time our leaders have really even done substantially for us to say that enough is enough. And a system where satisfaction is always temporary, then this is a system that is going to cause chaos. Young people will always be dissatisfied. You'll see them on the roads. Young people will always feel like, no, we should call for our rights. We should demand what is ours. And a role where enough, or a place where we have enough, then citizens will always notice. They'll always pick out the leaders who have done it, and that's what we are really calling for. So change is everything, and change is inevitable. And that's one thing that I want to put out clearly, that it's a high time that we call for change. It's a high time that we call for transformation, and there is no way that citizens are going to accept underperformance and clap when you arrive. So citizens will always remain restless. Citizens will always remain under pressure. And if things are not fulfilled as they were promised, then that becomes a moment of uncomfortable truths. So our politicians, we love you so much. We remember what you promised. So deliver for the people and you'll have peace of mind. And because it's the 21st century, technology is here with us. So our citizens will always use technology to remind us why we've not delivered for them. And I know leaders will always stay hungry. So does the citizens. They are even more hungry than we can imagine. So it's not that because they lack power, they have power. And power is with the people, and power is in their hands. So the reality here for me is not about patience. I think Wakenya tumengoja sana. East Africans, we've waited for change. It's a time that we call for this change. We are not saying that we should be going on the roads to cause rampage. What I'm trying to say is that it's a moment for us to have like desk level conversation. Let's go to the villages. Let's go to the communities. Let's engage the people and let's understand where it pains more. And through this kind of leadership approaches, then Africa will be headed on the right trajectory. So good people, thank you so much. If you're wondering who is this is Lamek. I'm the host of the new podcast. I call it Between the Lens. And Between the Lens, this is our first episode, and I hope you're going to like it. And yeah, soon, let's have a conversation. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Click on that subscribe button, and yeah, looking on to the next.